Hello. We have an EverDrive problem on our hands. Quick fix. Slow fix. What will it be? Okay. Quick fix. No. I noticed that we lost the Tatanka practice ROM out of the quick menu. Dizzy mouse, thank you. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna keep practice quick today. Today is gonna be a transitional stream after I have been completely dead the entire day after coming back from Gamescom yesterday. But this is supposed to revitalize me and my spirits. Hey, Sarah. Thank you. What are we practicing? Just a little bit. Just a teeny tiny bit practice. Hey, ATC. Ah, no, not the pressure. You're too much for me. I'm gonna talk about my Gamescom adventure a little bit later when more people are here. It was interesting. It was also very exhausting. It was very fun when I was there. Yo, first try. Yes, the 3 in a row. Quickly. Right. Let's just do this for a little bit because I lost 2 runs on pace to this very level, which should not have happened. Whoops. And the problem was right here, taking damage there. Okay, what I thought I could use is the coin pling sound as a cue. That doesn't work. Because the fluttering cancels out the coin. At least there. Just a quick save state right here. It just shouldn't be a problem. one of those things that the more attention you pay to it, the more you make it into a problem. I think it's actually not a problem. Just ignore it. All kinds of wrong. Didn't even jump in the right place. Oh, I want to give the little optimization thing that Jet found in... Actually, let's do that right now. In Turtle 2, I want to give that a try. How lenient that is. You land quite early like this. It's... It seems to require a very short tap. Yeah, that's the one. It's a very short tap. Hey, Jet. Right on cue. It can be consistent. I can see it. But it feels like, I mean, depending on where you tap, it cannot be longer than 2 frames. So that could be a problem for certain people on certain controller setups. Acorn. Nah, you won't miss the world record today. Today is a transitional day. Go to bed. All good. Yeah, I think it's a 2-frame press for the ideal one. Oops, I can't get the combination though. There we go. Kind of. It's pretty neat, I gotta say. I remember we tried to do something in the past, like some kind of jump setup, but yeah, full jump doesn't work. That's what I remember. And with a random jump, it's just not the same. Oh, so that was even later, but I think that was too late. I think you can... I have a feeling it's gonna be always a little bit inconsistent. Because like that, I don't think you get the full... No, you should get the full effect of the quick drop. Like you kind of flutter almost before running off. compare against normal. It's significant. I can see it already. Probably gonna be in our typical like 4-5 frames range at least. Why can't I get the timing afterwards? Oops, that's not gonna work. Can't get it cleanly. Cleanliness, clean. English. You always hit the bottom 1/4 frame. That one was good. That is my problem there. If you turn around before, you actually get the full running slide-off animation. Gotta hold right as you walk off. You see that? How is it so consistent that I always hit the ledge for a single frame on this direction? That is so weird. Hey, Foster. Kind of new trick, yeah? Slightly tighter setup. The top part here. I like it. I start to like it more and more the more I do it. Just gotta develop new muscle memory for it. It feels very natural. Again, the more I try it, the better I like it. Jet, good find. Love it. Hey Jonas. I found the water level, dear bot. It's right here. Ah, why am I so late? It's a gradient, like depending on how early you tap and how long. You get varying results. But all should be still faster than just running off. That was the 1 frame above thing. That looks weird, but I think it's decently fast. Yo. Oh, it's way too early. Ah. 1 input got eaten. That's good. You also gotta be careful with actually going into the pipe on the right. I've been messing that up in runs as well. Twice, I think. Too far right. Ooh, that's good. And no, that is not how it works anywhere, as far as I'm aware. RTA is, well, anywhere where RTA is the measurement. So wherever a run is timed in real time, lag always matters. It's not calculated from the frames, it's the other way around. For the leaderboards, you find Game Boy frames there, but that is calculated from the video frames. IGT has its own problems. If it's a like non-complex game and still somewhat deterministic game, like a simple jump and run, then dealing with lag is actually a fun part of the run. Because it's just one more layer of optimization and applying creativity. There are many instances in this game where lag is not really predictable, though. It's a little bit annoying, but it's not a huge factor. Some here and there, and in the end, it just cancels out. I mean, IGT. The thing is, let's assume this is just one application for this game in particular. You could make a speedrun by IGT, right? You have an in-game timer. But what that would mean for how the speedrun itself looks is that you would try hitting all of the bells at the end because you stopped the in-game timer earlier. And then you cut out That's how IGT works, right? You cut out your loading sequences. Like in other games, you quit out here and there, go back in, then the in-game time continues. In the case of this game, that would look like, okay, in-game time doesn't go on the maps, doesn't go in the bonus game, and that just doesn't... It's silly for this game. Doesn't work, right? You wouldn't do that ever. But it illustrates the core of what could be a problem for how the run plays and looks, how smooth it is, how well you can sell it to the audience that is how the speedrun is working. There are many things you have to consider. It's not always just, in-game time is surely the way to go, surely is accurate. Because then again, you also have some games where in-game time is tied to frame rate, and frame rate is freely choosable, and all of those things. So it's not really a cure-all solution. No, but I'm adjacent to the Souls games community, where in-game time is a thing. It appears like RTA in many cases, but there are also like reverse plugins that draw from the in-game timer into live split, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the conditions have to be right, and the game has to be made well for in-game time to be that viable. That's what I mean. It's not just the short input is escaping me. It's not always just the preferable method, if available. There can be caveats to it. It was a process to get used to at ATC. But since I've known the very people who push for those extreme optimizations, I also get their side of the thing. And it's just added complexity. It's hard to execute in many times, to execute properly. It does disrupt the run, especially if you're used to the older runs from like the 2013 to 15 era. But I don't even notice it anymore. It's a part of the speedrun. It's a part of the tech. it doesn't make sense. If you don't want that, you can always watch some old runs, but that's just the level of optimization. To the modern speedrunners of Souls games, it's not even a question anymore whether to do it or not. It's just part of the thing, part of the run, part of the series at this point. Since sometimes you also use quit outs to avoid deaths, where do you draw the line? Immoral glitch abuse. it's dishonorable. Yeah, but that's. I guess you also mean that comment with a grain of salt, with some humor, because that's exactly the point. Some instances that use the very same mechanic are necessary for the run to even work, and then why shouldn't you do the very same input sequence in a different place where you don't necessarily would otherwise lose the run or not be able to do a skip, but instead save half a second? That's the way I see it. It's actually more consistent to do the door quit-outs. Every quit-out is cheating, yes. You're not just cheating the game, you're also cheating yourself. Classic. I love it. They were very, very fun. I don't even know where. I think it was a Demon Souls forum with very fun discussions along those lines, like the PvP fans versus the speedrunners and this and that. And then years later, the no-hit runners had their own little faction with their own agendas and ideals. Definitions of any percent. Oh yeah, no percentage in the game. How can you run any percent? I thought you were referencing somebody in chat there, Jonas. I was wondering, did I miss a message by somebody called Jetlight? No. A specific card that loads faster. That's... Yeah, I don't... That's always like thin ice for all kinds of platforms, games. Are you copying that from a meme, a Reddit thread, ATC? Pretty sure most games specify that it has to be from an empty save file, from a vanilla clean cart. Now, if you're loading a save state, then you would have to include, like, this is my serious answer, then you would have to include the time in your any percent run that it took you to set up that save state. That should go without saying. No, that is not what any means. Yes, rules in the end are arbitrary, but there are some agreed upon base rules, which is starting from an empty save. That is one of those sometimes unwritten rules, but that is implied. That should just go without saying. Oh, do I smell where the arbitrary is coming from? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how those discussions happen, right? People have different viewpoints and sometimes don't really get the community agreed upon things. There used to be like one such example where actually a community agreed upon something that I didn't agree with was in Binding of Isaac, where for the speedrun, you needed a very specific combination of starting artifacts, which are given by at random, I think. I don't exactly remember how it works, but you need to use a certain character and then get a specific starting random item. And that can just take hours to even get that starting lineup. So what they did was they were running a script, and it would start like 10 runs at the same time, keep looking through, and then alert the player when it had found something. So you could sit next to your PC, do something completely different, and then you get the alert, and then you start your run through the script. That is obviously not in the spirit of a especially not for a roguelike game where this random factor really factors in how the run is. Of course it's convenient. Of course only that combination of items and character has a chance of beating the already existing world record. So yeah, there's clearly an incentive. They used to... But again, like, if you are staying, and this is a completely serious answer again, if we are staying on door opening in Souls games, it's really as easy as that. You use a mechanic, which is the quit out, that you also use in other places of the run where you probably wouldn't complain as much as for the doors, but now you also apply that very other technique on the doors. So it's hard to rule it out, right? Like it doesn't make sense at all to rule it out, because it's just applying a game mechanic that is, it's just a different kind of a jump, right? A jump is a game mechanic. Oh no, but it's so much more skillful to run around this and that instead of jumping over, but you can also use the jump. And that's, you kind of have to think in those kinds of, along those kinds of lines to make it make real, like, practical sense, and just see that the, like, not using it is just, it's just more arbitrary than the other way around. And in the end, it really comes down to what does the community agree upon. You never like quit outs, but yeah, some people might not like jumps because it's less skillful. Like, there's so much subjectivity of what that skillful or that like aesthetic means. It doesn't look nice. It's not smooth. It cuts the game into pieces. But yeah, that's the game. That's how it is. That's how it's programmed. Without is not intended gameplay. Yeah, I mean, intended gameplay is one of those phrases that is the embodiment of arbitrary and subjective, right? Like like if somebody uses that as an actual argument, they say, no, my understanding is as it was intended. There's no phrase, no quote from any developer anywhere. The person themselves makes that statement and just assumes that that is correct and that they are completely in line with the game developers. Certainly not. Like, what's another good example of the intended gameplay? Trying to think of a jarring one. Skipping over objects. Yeah, I mean, oftentimes, like, it's a fun segment in GDQ runs, as mentioned, where the developers are just in awe of what speedrunners managed to do, and they love it. They love how their games are being broken. That's clearly how when I would make, if I would make a video game, I would, of course, I'm very adjacent to the speedrunning community. But I would love just seeing what people come up with against my initial intentions. So it's not even an argument. Like the not developer intended shouldn't even be an argument in that regard, because they might love it to see that somebody circumvents their intentions. It all counts as a glitch. Well, that's kind of the same discussion here. What is a glitch? What is... Like, should there always be a distinction between glitchless, which then is... Like, if somebody uses glitches... We have glitches in this game, right? Main category. But it's really just there because we don't have like those small glitches that other games have to save time. But instead we have this gigantic one that completely changes the character of the speedrun. So in the case of this game, there has to be a separation between the two. And I also get when people just want to see the game being played. That's a more than fair point. But let's say we would have a technique in this run where, like similar to the thing that is actually in the game for the task, called the pixel trick, where you have to like interrupt your running animation every 4-6 frames or so, which is clearly not doable. And you have to do it for 1 frame, clearly not doable in real time. But let's say that jumping... Let's take corner boosts, for example. Are corner boosts intended? I wouldn't be able to tell. I would say yes, because character sprite cannot overlap a tile, so if they happen to do, or would do, then just push it to the side so they don't. Is that intended? Probably. Is it a different kind of a jump? Is it a different application of a jump that is not a normal jump? Also yes. So we're already in kind of a gray area, in this case still tending towards intended. But you can, like, construct any kind of technique in your head and make it make sense or not make it make no sense the same way. You gave your actual stance away, ATC. But I find these discussions still important. Because a lot of people don't see the two sides, or maybe are just swayed, or maybe have never thought about a certain view angle. So there's always value to at least talking about the pros and cons of the, let's call them just two sides for simplicity. There are more than two sides even. To just showcase there's still, you can discuss these things in a productive manner, and maybe somebody will come around and also see the entire picture. In the end, it's not too important. It only comes down to, does it make sense for the people who actually perform the runs? Are they having fun? If something is super tedious, but still faster, then only like 1 or 2 people might be inclined to even try that, and then it's not a very popular category. It will be the fastest time, but take any percent in this game. Prime example. It's impressive to look at, but it's very tedious to attempt. So the leaderboard is 1 page long, like we have 25 runs or so in any percent. Compared to, how many do we have? Like, we might be in the 200s already, maybe not yet. For glitchless, it's clearly the more popular category, the more accessible one as well. So. But both have their right to exist. And people find fun in both. There are people who only watch any percent in this game because they think, glitches is just playing the game fast. It's not... Like, some people need to have glitches in speedruns. And there are others who just don't want them at all. It's all valid as soon as somebody agrees with your opinion. Then you're already validated in a way, right? That's the way I see it. Wait, no, I wanted to practice this for a tiny bit more. I mean, I argued for both sides, of course. You can agree safely. Sometimes people really just have to get over that there is no black and white in most cases. Like, the very concept of right and wrong is so seldom applicable in life. It's very rough to go through life with a black and white mindset. Oops. I just got to read your earlier point, Jonas. Like, yeah, kind of. Gives a good speedrun is also kind of volatile as a term, right? What is a good speedrun? The standards can be very, very different. Like, what is fun to watch? What is fun to execute? As soon as you find a group of people, let's say more than one person, but a group of people who agrees to some standard, that is viable, right, at that point? There's an audience, there's a demand. Back to my practice here, because I didn't want to make it too long. Okay, I see my problem. I think sometimes I just don't do the jump off the grab, and then I'm too floaty, but still do the same input, and then I start fluttering too high, or stop syncing too early. I think that's the crux of the problem. Yeah. Like, I wanna... The most normalizing thing would just be to do a ceiling bonk there. Always. And then develop the muscle memory from there. Jonas, no. It doesn't, yeah. It only speeds up how quickly you drop. And it might make for a more fluid button transition for your fingers. Oops. With the opposite example. Of course, I have to practice it on different days for a while. To actually commit it into muscle memory. But that's the thing, I had not thought about it before to normalize that part of the setup. So I have to take a tiny break, I'm sorry. I will be right back. I'm back. Yeah, we are in the lucky situation in terms of emulator accuracy that we have just good options available. For any percent, we kind of have to make a distinction as well as we can. The thing is, there are even differences between the out-of-bounds area tile interaction between the official platforms. But there's one emulator that just does it a little better than the other one, like in an average way of looking at it. So for any percent, we actually only accept one emulator, which is BGB. If in doubt, like I put it in the rules, I don't remember how I phrased it. But if somebody thinks that they also have a valid option, or they are not on Windows, for example, they're on Mac or on Linux or this and that, then we can always go the extra mile, and we'll do so, and just check their setup for accuracy, and then make an exception, or maybe include that for future users, if that is consistent. So people with the same setup can refer to that. That's always something that like an active community kind of has to do. You have to stay open. Like, sometimes the technical aspects keep moving forward, and you might have to update your mind or your opinions. One thing that I find is important, that no platform has a clear edge over another. And that also goes retroactively. Like, you have to be careful with updating rule sets. If it just invalidates like hours and hours and thousands of hours of hundreds of runners in the past who didn't have that. Kind of have to try to value everybody's effort somewhat equally. The cases exist, and you don't necessarily want to exclude them. Like, you definitely don't want to make it like an ideological discussion. Oh, if you want to speedrun, then why are you even on a Mac? That's might be on a Mac for completely different reasons, right? Like music production, for example, as I'm told, is much more convenient on Mac software on the environment. Somebody can't afford to run two systems. Who am I to tell them what their priorities should be? If their career is music and their hobby is speedrunning, well, I'm gonna find a way to make it work for them. Yeah, but what you're saying is sometimes things that people who don't really reflect upon those things keep uttering and start believing themselves. In a way, it's victim blaming, right? Like, you're not responsible for the pricing, this and that, and the exclusivity and the non-modability of the Mac OS environment, but you're still kind of, you have to use it for different reasons, or for very specific reasons. And if you then go ahead, as many people do, and just say, yeah, you're stupid for having a Mac in the first place, can't do anything with it, and that's just victim blaming. That's on Apple's end for making their environment that way. And every user, in a way, is a victim. And you can say, you can construct similar arguments for Windows and this and that, even for Linux. And can be run faster. Yeah, I mean, there's frame rate unlocking and things like that when physics engines are tied to FPS, then yes, that would influence that, which is a thing on PC. Or can be a thing on PC, at least. There are also certain glitches that only work on certain frame rates. Just because. Engine things, again. Which gives an advantage. It's much more likely that you're able to adjust FPS on PC, right? Rather than on the otherwise equal console release. Those are always interesting discussions. This happens in Souls games again. Elden Ring, for example, has those kinds of skips. Without skips, again, I believe. Where certain frame rates work and others don't. Or just make it more consistent. Oh, hello, fish. I mean, Foster, even if you say that, and I believe you're right in a factual sense, the entire industry standard thing is still going to be a topic, right? You wanna have that. You go to a convention and everybody has been using this and that Mac program for the last 15 years, and it's just the way it is in a certain industry. And you come along with a completely different system setup, you're going to be looked at weirdly, justified or not, doesn't matter. But there are those effects that those things have. This sticking to the past, this being part of the community in a way. There's still always going to be a difference, but on technical aspects, I probably never believed that it was clearly in favor of one system, because that's usually just not how the world works. You can always find workarounds. But the entire fact that you find more plugins, more this and that, for a specific platform because it has been used in that specific field for a long time, that is reality. So that's usually where an advantage comes from, already pre-existing resources. I'm not in the field, but it's something that I have heard from many friends who were into music production, not just who were fans of music. Yeah, sure. No, who made music. I think it was almost in unison that they at some stage they had to use macOS for some things. Out of convenience, out of whatever, out of peer pressure. It's always the wrong reason, peer pressure, but it can be a reason. Can't just completely disregard it. Yeah, music is the only thing that I have second-hand experience from friends. Is that second? That's the third-party experience. It's hearsay. Yo! Mario Land in my music. I'm gonna make a save state here. Wait, why am I holding run here? Dangerous. Ah. I'm paying extra attention to the top Wario face in the second room now, ever since I missed that the other day. Shards of my soul? When did I die? What happened to your scales, Corn? Was it painful? Let's find the Tatanga practice ROM. Since it has disappeared from my quick menu. Did I have a Tatanga folder or anything? It's not in here. I do have a folder. Let's see how the mashing is today. Or more the timing. Yes. Mashing is usually fine. It's usually the timing that goes awry. Or just slipping off the controller. Not a fan of the odd frames. Big fan of the even frames like 84. B10 is a bit early. Twelve. I noticed that after every small break, yeah, like now, after being away to Gamescom for a few days, I noticed that I always go too early again. I lose trust in my own ability to be fast enough if I go later. Ooh, that was a good one. What are you looking at? The Tatanga practice ROM. Ah, I'm slipping off the buttons again. Have you never seen the practice ROM before? I can explain, if you wish. This is a separate practice ROM, only for the Tatanga fight. And only through practicing with this we fully understood how the fight actually works. So there's this timer that goes down from 255 back to 0 and then flips over to 255. Rinse, repeat. Every 255 frames, Tatanga will do his horizontal shot. I guess 2 shots, right? The one that he spits out at the bottom, that goes across and then back up, and the one that he shoots straight horizontally. The timer's for that horizontal one. And that is what some of these numbers are referencing. For example, the 83, I think at the beginning of the fight, the timer actually starts at 97 or something. Like, it's not going down from the full 250 initially, but it will, on further rotations, will do that. So the 83 that you see means that I pressed right, like assuming it's 97, that the fight actually starts and that you gain control of Mario. So 97 or 1 or whatever you would call it is the first frame that you could make an input, like holding right. If I hold right, let's just do it real quick. If I hold right from the very start, the number will show 1. If I try to time it, the highest number I can get is 96. If I try doing it on the first frame. Wow, frame perfect. And yeah, it goes down from there, every single frame. So that's number 1. And that is what I determine my alignment compared to Tatanga will be when I arrive at the top, right? The angle will be slightly different. I will have access to Tatanga on different frames. The thing is, as long as those frames are not 0, and I shoot Tatanga, whatever count that counter will be at will be applied to Tatanga's stun frames. So if I shoot Tatanga when this timer shows a 10, he will be stunned for the next 10 frames, which means during those 10 frames I cannot shoot him. And that's where all of this timing comes back together. You have to find the optimal solution where he's stunned short enough, but also you shoot early enough that he doesn't hit you, and that you're not too close to him or too far away, so you can't make the shots connect through an angle of 45 degrees, obviously. That's where all of it culminates again. So you want to hit him so that his stun frames are lower than what time you need to get the second and the third shot out. And then you can just keep him stunned that way. That's in essence, how the Tatanga fight works and how we can utilize this practice ROM to actually make it tell us what exactly we are doing wrong. For example, let's try to do something wrong on purpose there. So you can see the second shot missed because I shot my first shot very early. Then, so the shot was, that's the second number at the top, the B14. B, usually the shoot button. So I shot him, I didn't shoot him, I shot. I pressed the shoot button 14 frames before the timer wraps around. The shot traveled for 4 frames. And in the cooldown column on the very right, you can see that is when Tatanga actually got hit 10 frames before the timer or the counter reaches 0. So he will be stunned for 10 frames there. My second shot, however, row number 2, that starts in the delay column with a 3, which means my second shot was 3 frames after the first shot. Now that one travels a bit as well. The first one traveled 4 frames. The second one will travel 3 or 4 frames. We're a tiny bit closer to Tatanga, so could be 3. In any way, those 3 frames, plus the 3 or 4 frames of travel time, plus the hitbox of Tatanga, shot takes like another 3 frames to travel through. Possibly only sums up to 9 frames there, but Tatanga is stunned for 10 frames. So the shot entirely passes Tatanga without ever making a connection. So you lose that entire shot because you shot too early. And you just gotta figure out what works and what doesn't. We used to have a ROM hacking magician who looked at all of the values in an emulator and was skillful in terms of Z80 CPU assembly coding. And he made that nice practice ROM for us. He hasn't been around in a while. But yeah, we're very thankful to Lightbulb Sun for making both this as well as the regular practice ROM for us. It's pretty dang cool. Super helpful. These practice ROMs have helped bring down, like, without the practice ROM, the world record would be at least 6-7 seconds slower than it is today. It's my prediction. Maybe not that much, but it would definitely not be as low. Just because of how convenient the practice ROM is, and it just frees up the speedrunners for thinking of more optimizations. It really, really helps. Yeah, it's like a modified Z80. I don't know the specifics, but it's based on Z80. So the technical limitations, like the exact frame rate, that is all the same as the regular Z80, I believe. Which in the end is the reason for the odd frame rate of Game Boy games, the 59.727588 something. That stems from the clock speed of the Z80. I'm pretty sure we've always been talking about the Z80. Should be a quick Google search. I definitely heard Lightbulb Sun refer to it as Z80, and we have a pretty much Z80 based decompilation of the witch fight, where it was in the name of the document that he linked to me. I'm not a hardware guy. So I could be wrong or repeating things wrong, but that's what I remember. Timing is getting a little bit better. I think it's something that Nintendo worked on together with Sharp. I mean, it's always difficult to distinctly remember just random letter and number combinations like that. Not quite there yet. I think I'm mostly slipping. So my third input isn't even coming, my fourth input isn't even coming through. I'm slightly slipping off or not pressing the button hard enough. But have a look at my input display. Ooh. 88 is too early. Oh, it is. There is... where did I see that? Like the very distinct mathematical formula for why the frame rate is how it is given somewhere in some technical thread that I found way back. I might be able to find it again. It's probably bookmarked somewhere. It was about the frame rate conversion for the Super Game Boy, I believe. And it listed both. So you had the perfect mathematical, like you had the fractions pretty much for both of the frame rates. I think I slipped on the second. Oh yeah, that H should not be there, so can't see my own input display. It's always a problem. There. Okay. Gotta keep my fingers loose, not cramp up. Yeah. I even missed one there, or maybe merged two inputs. It still worked because of loose noodle fingers. Ah. Was all kinds of wrong. B8 and 3, yeah. That's the combination that usually doesn't work. So I gotta be even later. Like that. Let's go. Ah, too early again. Yes. That's when it pulls up the screen on its own. Like here. I'm not pausing there. The screen will appear when he's dead. I guess I didn't mention that earlier. So the column that has the H's, the skull, and the S, column without a header, that signifies what happens. H is a hit with a fireball. S is a stomp on the head. The skull is Mario taking damage. So the fight ends. Tatanka has 6 hit points. The fight ends if those 6 hit points are depleted. A stomp takes off 2. A shot takes off 1. But a stomp causes a longer stun. Quite a long stun, actually. So you want to do as many shots plus 1 stun. Obviously 4 and 5 shots plus a stun are equivalent. You don't gain any time by getting that 5th shot in. Like, you can only take 6 hit points off and not the 7. But like 4 fights previously, I got 6 shots in, which is very hard, very tight to like cram all of that in. That is even faster because it also reduces the fight length by the dying animation, or by the stomp animation during the dying animation. 0056. I will believe that then. Thought there were some 8s in there somewhere. I think that's calculated, Jonas. That's what I was saying. It's a fraction somewhere. I can give you the fraction. I think I have it in my... I just don't have it written down where I got the fraction from, but I know that where I got it from, that one was using the clock speed. So the fraction... Wait, no, that's not where it is. Speedrun time converter. Well. Oh no, I haven't. Why do I not have it written down for that one? I have it written down for the Super Game Boy. Hmm. Hmm. I will look it up. And link the source. You can also like reverse engineer and see what fraction gives that number. You might be on the money. No, I'll look it up. I roughly I probably will recognize it when I get close or when I see a Google result. I will recognize the thread. Or you might just find it yourself. But the topic was frame rate conversion, or like possibly it was about. Might even have been about the Crystal mod of the Super Game Boy. Was something related to the Super Game Boy. Old forum thread from years ago, like 10 years old. Let's get 3 in a row, and then I'm gonna do runs. It's 2. That's 3. All right. Do. It's yes, we know. There will hopefully be enough Star Song in my runs. Let's change all of the things. Make game sound louder. Make video game music go away. Revive live split. No crashes today, please. It's gonna crash. Boarding, and then I should be good. That first click of me making the Super Game Boy border black. It's the one I use for less distraction, I guess. Initially, I just used the black border to make it easier to crop, but then I just got lazy. I used to also stream with border. I remember at least 2 borders that I used to use in my speedruns. One was the expressionist ones with the archways and all kinds of things, and then I used the more technical, like what's like PCB board thingy one. I think it was more along the lines of having an industry-tested processor with the Z80 already available, with lots of things known, and just that was just a thing that was easy to mass produce, and then getting as close as possible to the TV standard, but not for technical reasons, but for reasons of not being too vastly different for the consumer. Just that familiar frame rate. Hello, squirrel. But that is my theory. I cannot support that with any factual statements. It just makes sense to me. All right, focus is not on anywhere where I could accidentally delete things, because that's one thing. Sometimes I have the focus on OBS, and I hit my split reset button, and it wants to actually delete a piece from my OBS scene. That is not intentional. Instead, I just have it in my Twitch chatty chat window. Frozen chat? Is that happening again, or is it a you problem? Because for a while, that was an actual Twitch issue. Widespread. Yeah, I mean, that's would be the same for my theory. That the Japanese audience was used to the 60-ish frames of 59.94. Ah. Bad. No. Ah, this level. Not again. Oh. Yo, Jet. That sounds like a successful derust is in progress. Is today the first day of runs? I was asleep. I saw you were streaming earlier, but I was so dead today. I thought I was dead yesterday. So I knew I would be dead after the travel. I guess it's time to talk about my little travel adventure to Gamescom. So on Thursday, or differently, I made the plan to meet friends at Gamescom, the big games fair happening in Cologne, or well, it ended today. This past week plus weekend. I already had the train ticket, it was paid for the entire month, so didn't have to worry about that. And then I also heard that some people from the Game Boy Tetris community are going to be there and do a little side event on their own. which was on Friday. So that was how I decided, okay, I'm gonna try to go to Gamescom on Friday to meet my friends, to meet the Game Boy community, Game Boy Tetris community, and have a look at Gamescom in general, because I've never been to a Gamescom since it has blown up so much. Like, it's the biggest games fair at the very least in Europe, and I think the biggest consumer games fair. I think like the PAXs and such are probably still a little bit bigger, but it's very big. And I just wanted to be there. So my plan, and the actual execution was as the plan was to use my cheap train ticket, which only allows me to use short distance trains across all of Germany. I live very far in the east. The Gamescom is very far in the west, so that was gonna be a travel. I boarded my train at 2 p.m. on Thursday, so I planned the entire day just for traveling and then go to the actual fair on Friday morning. Boarded the train 2 p.m. Thursday. If you've heard anything about the German railway system over the last couple of years, all of my fears came true. There were a lot of delays, a lot of missed layovers, or like connection trains, layovers getting very long, everything very inconvenient. The trains were too full, all kinds of things that you can imagine can go wrong with railway went wrong. No accidents, luckily, at least not in the trains I was going by. We had a Kölsch on Thursday. Whoa. Anyway, there was one important train connection that I had to get. So I would actually arrive in Cologne on roughly the same day. It would have been 2 a.m. Now, that very connection had a layover time of 10 minutes, which was kind of on the lower end. Hey, da, Stinger. Everything was going fine. Like 5 stations away from that train change station, 4 stations away, 3 stations away, everything was perfect. We were right on time. 1 station away from the train. Train leaves, only that 1 stop left before I change my train and everything is safe. Suddenly the train stops in the middle of nowhere. Takes a minute, takes 2 minutes, no announcement, no nothing. And then the announcement comes. We have come to an unplanned stop because of a construction site. And the unplanned stop was okay. It was okay. Up to that can happen, right? It can happen. Something like a different train has a delay and now has to use the track before us because it's better, like on a utilitaristic level, right? That can happen. But no, there's a construction site, which I am pretty sure cannot just appear out of nowhere. Like that is a thing that has had to be planned, and they probably tell the railway system that operates the trains on top of the thing that the construction site is on, that there's going to be a construction site beforehand, not while the train is running. So I was like, either are they bullshitting me, or is this whole system even more fucked than I had imagined? That they don't even know where the construction sites are anymore, and they just do it by seeing them on the road. Like it's Anyway, emergency maintenance, I doubt it. Once we went past, there was no worker there anymore. It was like 7 p.m. or so in the evening. All of the construction workers had clearly already gone home. But, anyway, we waited there for like 25-30 minutes, and it was very, very clear that I wouldn't make my connection train. Which meant that I had to, like, I was in the dead center of Germany at that point. Even going back, like, just reconsidering the entire project was not really an option anymore. Dead center of Germany. So I just made plans. Okay, I'm gonna go to the biggest train station close by that I can make it to tonight and just sleep there, which is what I did. So I went to Kassel, the beautiful German city of Kassel that I had never been to. And now I have been to it, but only to the train station. And I just walked up to one of the station guides, I guess, who tell people what to do when they are late and like ask questions, this and that. And just ask them, here, my guy, is it a problem for anyone if I just look for a bench and just sleep there? And it was that. Yeah. There's some aboriginals here. That's the German word to use. There's some aboriginals here who also sleep here, homeless people in that case. We talked about homeless people the other day, and I said I had never seen many in Germany. I saw one, I guess. Didn't confirm that he was homeless, but there was a person sleeping in the train station who was not me. Anyway, for that night I was also homeless. Kassel is the center of Germany, of course. Yeah, it was not a very... Like, I didn't get very good sleep that night. There was a group of youths, should I call them, of young men who were meeting at the train station. They went out, got beer, came back in, talked, watched videos, watched YouTube on their phones, laughed, and they sat down right next to me where I was sleeping. And rinse and repeat every hour until 4 a.m. when they suddenly... They left one more time and didn't come back eventually. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to take a shower eventually. My plan was, so I had assumed this could happen. I talked about this possibility on my stream before, right? This was always an option. It was just the way it came to be was so disappointing, like really one station before the crucial train changeover. Yeah, the plan was to like refresh myself in the train station's bathroom, which would have been an option if it had been operational, but nope. The Kassel main train station only has a single bathroom, and it is currently not operational. So, no cleaning myself there. Sadly. I tried to freshen myself up the next day, like next morning. 4:54 is when I took my first train. I tried to get fresh and clean as well as I could in the train's bathroom, but that was also a challenge. Let's put it that way. Wasn't very efficient and effective either. But yeah, I arrived at Gamescom eventually. There were a couple more delays. So the gates of Gamescom opened 10 a.m. I was still on my last train at 10 a.m. I think I arrived like 10:30, 10:40. Super tired. I had gotten like 2 hours of sleep that night with all of the disturbances. And just in general, like I'm not used to sleeping in a train station on a bench. There was some adaptation needed on my end. Yeah, the first thing coming out of the final train station, arriving in Cologne, there was a big pickup truck by the Monster Energy drink company, and they were just giving away their new flavor of Monster Energy drink. It was called Bad Apple. For free, to everybody leaving the train station. It was like, okay, I usually don't drink caffeine, I don't drink taurine, teine. Usually don't, I just don't. But because I was so tired and I thought, okay, I have a full day of gaming fare ahead of me, or I don't want to fall asleep or just be a zombie the entire time. Without thinking, I just took one of them and didn't immediately down it, but I did definitely down it later. It might have helped, might not have. Who knows? I never felt tired, never fell asleep, so there is that. But yeah, then I arrived at the actual fair, and there were queues and queues, lines of people everywhere. At that point it was like 11 AM, so 1 hour after the gates had officially opened, so that had been going on for a while. And maybe it wasn't quite 11 AM, I think. No, I stood in line for like 40 minutes, and it looked much worse at first, but then it got a little bit faster again, and after 40 minutes I finally got in. Security control was interesting. I had a very big backpack with me, or like bigger than you would usually take with you to just a gaming fair, or any kind of fair where you're gonna walk around a lot. Because I had my blanket and all of the things, like change of clothes, that stuff with it because of my overnight stays in train stations. And security control consisted of people randomly asking you to show them your bag. And whenever they saw my bag and I opened them just a tiny bit, they were immediately just waving me off and saying, nah, this is too much for me to check, just go in. It happened 2 times. So that was fun. So note to you, if you want to smuggle anything into a big event or something, just pack a very big bag that looks very tedious to rummage through, and they're just gonna wave you through. Yeah, that was so funny. Yeah, then I wanted to very quickly find the friends that I was there to meet in the first place. And I knew they were in the indie arena, as it was called. So I looked up the floor plan, looked for the indie arena, and walked around the floor like 5 times. Couldn't find them. I was getting very confused. I went to the big banner in the middle of the room where every booth was at least named, and you could look them up where they were. Couldn't find their name all of a sudden. So I just walked another round, couldn't find them, then I wrote my friend a message, hey, where are you? I can't find you. At that point I might have just been too tired. I was not sure how operational my brain was. Turns out there was a second floor for the indie arena where the bigger indies and some other exhibitors were, and that's where they were. So I met up with them, we talked for a bit, I played their game. They were already a little bit tired and exhausted. They had been there, wasn't their first day. They had been there for just the press and developer opening days as well. So they had been through some stuff already. And they had to perform, right? They had to sell their game. So I left them with that for a bit and made my way to find the Game Boy Tetris community. Oops, I did that wrong. It's not salvageable. That also took a while. I had seen when I was walking across or through the first indie games floor, I had seen the big booth, pretty big booth of the CTWC qualifier stage, where you could play NES Tetris and qualify for CTWC. I think they gave away 1 ticket and some cash prizes, or money prizes. So I had seen that there was Tetris there, but I didn't add one-to-one immediately. Excuse me, that could also be the place where the Game Boy Tetris community assembles. So I couldn't find them at first. They had already started streaming. They also had a qualifying. They were doing a little tournament just for Game Boy Tetris. So they had started streaming that, so I asked there. Didn't get an answer, and then I found them on my own. So two people I knew from Twitch chat, being Darth Bunny and Tolstoy, who have been here a couple of times. So I thought I knew how at least one of them looked, but at the event with lots of people all looking kind of similar, I wasn't really sure whom I was looking for. So I just announced myself, hey, I'm the guy. I tried to stand out a little bit. I'm the guy with the Metroid t-shirt and the blue bandana. And then our eyes met eventually. It was that moment where you think, okay, I think that's the person, but I'm not entirely sure. But now I told them how I look today, and then you just carefully make eye contact and say, ah, yeah, it's you, right? So yeah, then I mostly talked to Darth Bunny, to MJ for quite a bit. I was just following along the qualifying. Well, I think I was late for the qualifying, so the actual event, the KO bracket had already started. Yeah, we were watching that. We were watching the bracket stage of the Game Boy tournament. I wasn't gonna join anyway, because that specific version of Game Boy Tetris that they had there, I actually need practice for that. And I didn't want to embarrass myself. It was vain. I had the SML2 shirt with me. I was wearing it on the second day and on the train ride back. But at the event itself, I wore the Metroid shirt. Problem is, my SML2 shirt it's not dirty or anything, but it has seen better days, and it has a white base color of the shirt, but it's not really white anymore. So it looks like you can't get it any cleaner anymore. I don't want to bleach it because then obviously the design suffers. So I just wash it normally with other bright clothes, but it doesn't really get super white anymore. So that's why I chose the Metroid shirt, which has a black base. And I also want to get a SML2 shirt with a black base. I haven't done so yet, but I will. Yes, I will. I had initially planned that for this year's ESA already, but I just didn't get to it. I also have the old one, the one that I made for ESA 2017, the blue SML2 shirt with the like classic. What even is it? What is it based on? Like the sticky stuff for the design. It's not just a color print. That old kind of design, t-shirt design stuff. But that one is even older, yeah. 7 years old, I guess. And the white SML2 shirt is good enough for my stream, because you only see it from the front. But from behind, where it's just white, it's just not white. So that's my reasoning. I hope I am excused. Anyway, I stayed for most of the Game Boy tournament. No, I stayed for all of the Game Boy tournament. I was just standing, walking some rounds in the indie arena. In the indie arena, they also had the retro like part of the exhibition, so I saw a lot of that. And there were so many other halls with like the modern game devs and the like recent products, but that's usually not what interests me. You will be very surprised to hear that. So I just pushed all of that back. And once the Game Boy tournament was over, there was only like an hour left before the fair closed for the day. So I took that hour and just walked everywhere where I hadn't been before that I could find and reach. Like the merch stores and all of those things. I never saw the event arena, but who knows what I would have missed and seen there. I can probably just watch some video game journalists going through there in hindsight now. But yeah, I saw a couple of things, but I was rushing through. My legs were hurting, my feet were dead from the standing and walking, and my brain was probably also fried to some extent. Then I said bye-bye to the Game Boy people, Game Boy Tetris people, and started walking, and then met up with my friends, and we went to a food place, and they let me stay in their hotel room, which was very convenient for that night, and I could take my shower, and life was bliss. But I had only planned for that one day at the fair, so the next day I would say goodbye. So it was nice that we went eating together, so we could talk a lot. Because like during the event, I was strange because I spent way more time with the Tetris people at the actual event than with my friends. Not that the Tetris people aren't nice people or not my friends or anything, but I hadn't necessarily planned it that way. But then I also didn't really want to like take away attention from my friends while they were like probably was overthinking this, but I thought they might be busy regardless, and I might be a hindrance or a distraction there. I'm there at all times while not actually belonging to the booth. So yeah, that was how I explained it to myself, how I spent my time there, and we would still have the evening together, which was very, very nice. Everything is awful. Then, next day, like this entire fair day was Friday. I wouldn't have been able to go on Saturday either, or anyway, because tickets were sold out for the Saturday. Saturday is the big day where most people go, where the biggest show elements are, as far as I could tell. So, for many reasons, I couldn't be there on Saturday. And I also had to get back home at some point. And didn't want to intrude another time in my friend's hotel room. So, we said goodbye in the morning, and I'd already picked a train connection back home. And I had plenty of time. I just needed to get from the hotel to the city center. I wanted to take some time, have a look at the big cathedral in Cologne, like the one thing that Cologne is known for. And then just, with lots of time to spare, just conveniently board my train and start my probably already terrible journey again, because it wasn't making myself, or wasn't giving into any illusions about things going correctly and alright this time around with the trains. And what do you know? The very first thing, the thing that I didn't even consider could be a problem, was taking the S-train, S-Bahn in German, which is just the local trains that commute every 10 minutes, which should never be a problem, but no. There had been an accident the day before where a big truck, had fallen off a bridge onto the railway, destroying all of the cables, this and that. And the very connection that I had to take to get to the city center was affected by that. Like, no trains were going whatsoever. So I tried to find a bus. I found a bus, but the bus was not exactly going to the main station, so I asked the bus driver, how do I get to the main station, to the city center? quickest way. Yeah, you can board this bus. We're going this and there, and from there you can take another bus or train, and you'll be right there. Yeah, he didn't know about the situation with the trains, and buses only commuted every 40 minutes or so, and that would have been too late for me. So I started running, pretty much. Started running towards the city center, and then I saw, by chance, a tram station. And that tram, actually, next tram was going like 7 minutes, and that one I took, and I arrived at the train station 2 minutes before my train left. Didn't have any chance to look at the cathedral, specifically at least. I looked, you can see that it's right next to the main station. So I looked out from boarding the train, and then from the train, looked out the window of the train station, and I saw the big cathedral. Yeah, that was my cultural aspect. Looking at the cathedral for 2 minutes from the train, through the train window, through the station window. I mean, no, the underground is really that. Like, U-Bahn is always underground. S-Bahn just means, yes, it uses the official railway, but it's usually confined to the city borders. The thing is, locally here, that's why it confused me. So this happened way outside of Cologne. But they didn't operate, or this had happened like the day before. They had time to at least adjust the schedule. The way they would do it here, in this city, is they would just have the train run the shorter distance as far as it can go. And then back. Just commute back and forth until the place where you can't. But for some reason they weren't doing that. Like, the entire connection was just gone. It just weren't operating any trains on that track whatsoever. Even though they could have. And then it is not an U-Bahn. U-Bahn literally means that. It's Untergrund, underground. Sometimes it might emerge, yes, but for most of it, it's underground. There are those kinds, like even in London, New York, you have the metro be above ground sometimes. It's still, that's a distinguishing characteristic. Most of it, especially the stations, are underground. But I don't think, like, most German cities don't have underground trains. Or only, like, very, very restricted ones that go to very few places. Because you need a lot of infrastructure for that to exist. And building an underground train into your city, in hindsight, in retrospect, is very difficult. The city of Leipzig did that. They had a big tunnel bore, but they only connected 2 points in the city, pretty much. Because what else can you do? Anyway, that's how my trip home had already started in chaos and very hectic. And I met a nice elderly couple at the... I think between the second and the third train. I met them because they were talking amongst each other and saying, oh yeah, this train is delayed and we won't make our connection train, and I overheard that it would be the exact same connection train that I was about to get. And they weren't on their smartphones because they didn't have smartphones. So they thought they wouldn't make the connection. But the other train, the next train that we were about to board, was also late. So that's how we got into a conversation. So I told them, yeah, it's all right. It's gonna be all right. And yeah, then I just kept them up to date. And since they were elderly, I offered here, can I maybe, like, if we have to run or anything, can I, it's fine, I'm gonna carry your bag. Like, they had a little, what's the word? The word is gone. The thing that you take your coffers, but it's not coffer, it's the suit bag. Yeah, their baggage. I can carry that for you if I have to go upstairs or anything. And it was super nice, super thankful. Denied all of my help, but in a very friendly way. And yeah, throughout all of the entire day, we would occasionally meet again. Like, apparently, I never asked them what their final destination was, but we were clearly going in the same direction. I think I changed trains 6 times that day. First day was 10 times, actually, with all of the unplanned stuff. I boarded 11 different trains on my travel to Cologne, 9 of which were late, which was funny. Not funny. Not all of the delays had an immediate effect on my layovers, but most of them, especially that one that I mentioned. That was crucial. Anyway, trip back, everything was mostly fine. I want to say there were some delays, of course, but again, that one delay was coincidentally just as much delayed as the connection train, so that worked out. But overall, it got pushed back, of course. So I definitely wasn't arriving home as early as I thought I would, which would have been 7 p.m. Yeah, also one very unfortunate turn of events was that due to that one delay in the middle of the trip, I would arrive in the city of Leipzig right after the Bundesliga football match had finished. Or like right after like most people would go home from that. So that was a whole thing. Everybody was drunk. They had won. The local team had won. Super drunk, super loud, super... football fans. It's not a nice... The average, let's say it like that. The average East German football fan is not something I would enjoy spending time with. But yeah. Couldn't choose, so I spent time with a lot of them for quite a long time. And as I was leaving the train that all of them were on, towards the very last train that I was gonna take that day, while leaving the train, I meet the elderly couple again, just sitting there. So they actually went to the exact same destination that I went to. That was funny. We said goodbye. And reveled in all of that we had gone through on that day. Was definitely more exhausting for them. They were easily in their 70s. So I commend them for traveling that way. That's absurd. Why is it absurd? Taking 11 trains for like a 700, maybe 800 kilometer connection? That's the thing. The ticket that I had was only good for short distance trains. So I had to change a lot. Let's just say East German football culture is somewhat close to xenophobia culture. Is that a good way to put it? The average football fan is very likely to be also somebody who votes for the far right-wing party in Germany. Sadly. Like, it's sad that that movement exists in the first place, but this crossover with a completely different field, where they also then get more traffic for one thing from the other. That's also just unfortunate. Nah, it's not just those. It's a lot of... Like, it's even more pronounced in the regional football teams, because there's not as much media attention to that, so they get away with more. But it's scary. Like, there's just regular YouTube videos of like more regional football matches, and you just hear the fans there, the hooligans, shouting the most racist phrases that you've ever heard in public, and it's just okay there. It's ridiculous. There's nobody appalled by that in the regular audience, because the regular audience are all their friends, and they're all just like that. It's awful. And it gets watered down a little bit, or more moderated, the bigger the football club gets, the higher the media attention is. But it's still there. Oh, left-wing hooligans? So I lived in the city of Leipzig for a long time, right? Leipzig has a very big alternative scene, and is very known for the 1st of May riots in Konnewitz, which is a big, like, left-wing demonstration where there's always fights with the police between the left ultras and the police. So that is definitely a thing, but I would still say that the average... I mean, you can see it in the polls, pretty much. The average lower class person is still way more likely to be from the right end of the spectrum. And the thing is, they're just way more socially accepted in East Germany, which is a problem for something like police statistics, for example, because there's also... East German police is said to be, and has been shown to be, like a breeding ground for right-wing, like smaller right-wing organizations. So you always have that skew in the statistics that left-wing attacks against police, for example, are overrepresented, because those are the only ones that are going to be reported, and because of the connection between, doing that again, between police and right-wing. You get my point, I think. It's a bit weird. But yeah, right-wingness and neo-Nazism is sadly very socially accepted in East German regions. Okay. I can live with that time loss. The parallel society problem, as I would describe that could be a thing. Yeah. It's definitely not a thing in East Germany, for obvious reasons. We don't have big Turkish cultures here. No districts like that. You find it in Berlin a lot, yeah. Or also in also in West Germany. I've heard that Duisburg is like the main city for big Turkish sub-communities. Land problem. Yeah, in terms of clans, I guess some Russian clans can be a problem in East German cities. There's always this overlap between some, like the Russian mafia, if you want to call it that, and the bouncer scene, like bouncers for events. A lot of the time they will recruit, or they have like a monopoly. Oh, it's too far. They tend to have a monopoly on bouncer jobs. It's gonna be awful. And there's an overlap between like the nightclub scene, drug scene, and the bouncer scene. So there used to be often some brutality and like there's not a lot of weapon crime, or like historically there hasn't been a lot of weapon crime in Germany, but in those scenes it sometimes got quite ugly with actual shooting. Like shootings are still super rare in Germany, I feel. And in Leipzig, where I lived, it was for a year or so where it got really out of hand, where people didn't get into nightclubs and like different kinds of like companies, if you want to call it that, in the nightclub bouncer scene were fighting against each other. That kind of dynamic just they riled themselves up, and it was quite a problem for a while. I haven't heard about those kinds of developments in a while, so I hope that has gotten a little bit more civil, at least. I'm sure the systems still exist. Yeah, motorcycle clubs are the classic example. The Hells Angels and the Bandidos. Banditos? What are they even called? I forgot. That also used to be a big thing in Leipzig. Because those are usually not just a motorcycle club. They're usually just a cover. We talked about this on the stream before. Like they're a cover for some shady stuff that is going on underneath. Usually involves drugs, sometimes trafficking. Yeah, motorcycles are very rarely involved. Let's state that for the record. What? Not like that. That was too late this time. I was on like B5. I love overcompensating. Man. Moss. Oh, I think you found yourself a moss dealer. No more talk about organized crime. I was thinking about that during the run. Do I want to have a rant, like a very poorly researched rant about organized crime in German cities in my PB video? I think not. Who has a nice topic? Did I even fully finish my Gamescom story? I got home at like between 9 and 10 p.m. So there was or around 9 p.m. There was a slight chance that I could have streamed yesterday, but I was just too dead. So I fell asleep almost immediately. I woke up today, I want to say at 9 a.m. and just wanted to snooze a little bit more. And then I woke up at 4 p.m. again. So I definitely must have been exhausted. And that's how my body told me. Now I'm all good. But yeah, that's why I also streamed a little bit later today, because the entire day got pushed back a little. It's a Sunday. Who cares? Just gotta pay a little bit attention that I don't stream until like 4 a.m. today. Just a few more runs and then normalize it starting tomorrow. Day of the Lord, of course. How could I forget? He just hasn't shown up in a while, so I tend to forget him. I read this nice statistic the other day, I think it was on the train, that in the year of 2023, 400,000 people left the Catholic Church. Like unsubscribed, unfollowed. That makes me hopeful in that regard. It's surprising right now. I was surprised by the actual number. That made me feel warm and fuzzy to some extent. I do not have those numbers, Squirrel. Recruitment, you can assume, is very low. I think for recruitment, they mostly draw from Ukrainian immigrants who might have already been in like a similar confession in Ukraine. But yeah, I think the numbers are going in the right direction. Now, Jonas, I don't think it works like that. As you can imagine, in Germany, whoopsie, there's some bureaucracy involved. I mean, there's certainly a correlation between having to pay church tax and being part, like everybody who is officially signed up for being in a church, be it Protestant or Catholic, have to pay the church tax. So since the economy hasn't really been that splendid the last couple of years, and like the effective amount of money has gone down and down in people's wallets, there's probably a correlation even just on that end, that a lot of people have just been too lazy, have been holding out on making the official step, but now that actual money is involved and that money is getting scarce, now they do it. That's probably why I read the number and why it was even a topic, because I assume Islam is growing, but I mean, sure. But that's also like an immigration adjacent problem, and that will just like fizzle out when they reach a certain critical point and be on a stable level, and then the numbers will go down again. Like, don't trust the AfD. Say they will overrun our country. You see, they're getting more and more. There are also more and more Ukrainians in Germany, believe it or not. Doesn't mean that in 20 years' time, everybody in Germany will be Ukrainian. Usually very simple connections to draw there. There's a church tax, yeah. There's also still a year. I think that's the context that I read it in, or maybe then from there I switched to a different article. The German government is considering stopping to repay the church for disowning them in the Second World War and post, and in East Germany in the GDR times. So they're still paying, like every single federal country pays the church in their vicinity a certain amount of time each year of those reparation payments. And that's independent of church tax. So the church is getting way too much money in the first place. But you have to have a certain official status to be eligible to receive that kind of state payment, of course. Whereas in the US, where everybody can be a church pretty much, that wouldn't work. With a lot of these smaller confessions, it's the same in Germany, that they don't get anything as it should be. But a lot of them still get at least reduced taxes for something. I think there used to be a discussion about Scientology being recognized as a church in Germany. I don't know how that went, I don't remember. Cults, nice. Oh yeah, that's about the reparation payments, yeah. The thing is that there's always more to the story, right? A lot of the appropriations or like redistributions that happened in the Soviet era in East Germany, you also have to see that there's also some Nazi money in churches. So that there's always this not everything was unjust. You can always argue the eternal debt that the church has for things like the Crusades and their part in like missions in the colonial times. Like there's been a lot of things gone wrong. Like the Reconquista, the every bad thing that the church has done over the centuries, right? Are they still paying reparations to all of the descendants of the witches? Surely not. That's what they're trying to do now. And just putting a lid on it and saying, okay, this is done now. I'm not going to pay this forever. Yeah, the thing is, should that even be classified as education if your main thing is to preach? Of course, that's a like point of contention right away. I know that there are some churches or like smaller confessions that have their own universities in air quotes. In air quotes. That's not. I should just do the air quotes or say in quotes. Yeah. See, they drew a line at some point at how much they consider themselves guilty for. And with the Nazi regime damages, we are reaching the point where quite literally every person directly involved or affected is dying now. Like, there are very few people who have been around. But just recently, like a 99-year-old woman who used to be she was in the 90s, 95, 99, something like that, who got sentenced for her taking part in the Nazi regime as a typist when she was like 16 years old. At which point you just gotta ask yourself, okay, it's okay to keep the memory alive. I get it. But these people are not really involved anymore. They have... It's such a weird topic. I don't even have a fully formulated opinion. But yeah, my point was, it's time to let go and use different avenues to keep the memory alive. Then making people actually like pay, or still sanction people for what they did when they were 16, or what they didn't do when they were 16, or just trying to find somebody who was around so that somebody can get punished in some media effective way. Also, don't fear for the old lady. She didn't like actually have to go to prison or anything. It was a like 2-year sentence on probation. So it's there for publicity. Live split, please. Yeah, yeah. It was a youth sentence that was delivered to her. It does make sense, however. She was 16 when the crime or the lack of human intervention was happening. Probably. There are many of those cases, though. Like, she was by far not the only one, but the most recent one. But it ties into... It's another negative topic. It ties into the entire topic of, like, collective guilt for something. Like, in the end, it does not matter what that girl was actually doing when she was 16 or something. The question is, did she actually... like, did what she was doing constitute, did it add to the guilt, to what was actually going on? Or is that just more victim blaming, that like there wasn't really a chance to not be part of the system? It's a very weird topic. I don't have a very clear opinion on it. I just don't think that eternal blame should be a thing, and collective blame past generations should be a thing. Ah! Bad. I would rather have them try some of the politicians that use the very rhetoric that people used in the Weimar Republic nowadays. They should be tried on the same standards, and not just for like insulting or just referencing anti-constitutional quotes. No, they should just be tried by the very same things. They are riling up people, or at least trying to. In a way, they are contributing to the Holocaust, to a theoretic Holocaust that hasn't happened, is probably never gonna happen, but they're trying to. In a way. Not seriously, but in a way, right? Their actions are much more dangerous than what a 16-year-old typist has contributed to the entire thing. Or somebody standing guard 10 kilometers away from a concentration camp, who was also like 16. Hadn't learned to use a weapon, so yeah, you stand guard there, you have to. Those are usually the people that you still find nowadays, or that they find nowadays. Oh, you were around here. We found your name on a list. You're gonna go to trial. But the actual far right-wing politicians, or just general, like, speakers, I have to say, it's usually right-wing here, right? Also, it's just the connection to the actual Holocaust. It makes it easier comparable. Those people usually don't get punished. That is a problem. But we're back on the negative topic again. What is everybody's favorite flower? That's the best positive topic I can think of right now. And I was asked this the other day, and I couldn't think of what my favorite flower was. And I think I'm gonna go by smell. I think the flower is also called that, and like a clove. I love the smell of cloves. Allium, no. Squirrel, you're wrong. Yeah, my grandparents, my parents, they always, like, since I can think, there was always a garden. A big garden around where I grew up. And the flowers that I always loved the most were cloves. Lily of the Valley. What exactly is that? That's one that I have in Minecraft, right? Ah. I'm not saying I only know flowers from Minecraft. I'm saying I might not. I might have to translate it to German to know what exactly it is. But that was the weird, very strange lag reduction that's so instant here. I don't know what exactly I did there. Can you try Germanizing Lily of the Valley? I'm curious if dear what knows. Oh! Oh yeah, those are definitely in Minecraft, right? It's the white ones with the the many the many. Yeah, I like those, but they don't smell like much. They're like the better version of let me translate that one. The better version of these. Oh, Snowdrop. That's a cute name, though. I mean, it's even cute on German, actually. Little snowbells. Lavender? I mean, oh, very nice smell as well. So you can say that that is your favorite flower, even though it grows on a big bush. I like the smell of lavender. I don't dislike many flower smells, I think. Really? How is that? Did you just grow up in an urban area? Or allergies? I guess that could be another one. Neither. Just an innate discomfort next to flowers. Allergies for squirrel. I knew that. Skill issue, really. I know that allergic people love hearing that. Oh. That is interesting to me. Why would you not? Oh yeah, chamomile. That is a very distinct, nice smell. The plant itself smells a little different from the tea, though. Or, like... I guess that is uncontested. I just wanted to make sure. I'm pretty sure I smelled almost every single plant around where I grew up. Like, you would just grab a leaf here and there and just rub it in between your fingers to see how it smells. It's just what you do. Perceive your environment. because it does exist. It's information. Like, it's like, okay, I know something is there, but I'm not gonna look at it. It's the same kind of example, right? Do I smell animal? I mean, if they get close, yeah. For example, I know that fish otter poop smells absolutely disgusting. Otters are the worst smelling animals in the world. Well, those who eat fish, which is usually what otters eat. I don't like... don't make it silly. Next thing you're gonna say is, yeah, by smelling you're actually ingesting molecules from different organisms that you don't have to actually ingest. Yeah, it's true. If you smell that somebody farted next to you, you're actually inhaling what they just had in their intestines. It's true. That's what you do. Yeah? Pretty much anything that eats other animals usually has smelly poop. That is true. Oh, I definitely like roses. I want to say most people would recognize roses. Tulips don't smell like much, but I would probably still recognize them because of that. Cloves, no question, would always recognize. Everybody, like, once you smell a clove, is it clove? Gotta make sure if I'm talking about the right thing. Yes. Thank you, dear bot. Once you smell a clove, you will recognize it everywhere. It's very sweet. Very, very sweet. So almost disgustingly sweet. But I find it nice. There are a lot of flowers, like garden flowers, like the pretty ones, that smell very similar. Which is probably because they're from the same family. Of like the group of Asteraceae. A lot of those smell somewhat similar. Smells like rain. I also like the big rhododendron bushes that have a distinct smell that I would recognize. Lavender was already brought up, has a distinct smell. I think I wanted to say geranium and pelargonium, like the typical balcony flowers, don't have a too distinct smell, but they're also going in that slightly sweet direction, at least. So maybe one could, but I'm not so sure about those. I would recognize them, but I'm not sure how many other things also smell like that. That's the way I would put it. Whereas with others, I would be pretty certain that I can distinguish. Carrot-smelling tree. I mean, rhododendron is a bush, by definition. like we're talking classic trees, right? I would probably say some kind of pine, which, well, by association is the smell of the resin. But yeah, tannin. Maybe just the tannin smell can be. Oh, Sambucus is a good one. Sambucus is a very good one. I love the smell of Sambucus. Or ruse. I mean, ruse is a little bit sour, and it depends. Like, it smells very different when it's in bloom than when it's just a regular tree. Mm. Ruse is interesting, but Sambucus is way better than ruse. Sambucus is a very nice smelling tree. Like, even the very wood of Sambucus smells good. It has this spongy substance in the middle of its branches and twigs. Yeah, same for me. Sambucus nigra. Birches smell okay until the stink bugs enter the season. Then birches only smell like bugs. Like no, it's not cantheridine. It's something similar though. Which in itself isn't the worst smell, but if it's just so everywhere and you can't really escape it, it becomes a little bit like too... The presence is just too much. And at least in Germany, there's a specific type of bug, the Birkenwanze, which is just so abundant, and the name is true. They love birches. That's just, you can't separate the two of them from a certain point onwards in the year. I also very much like minty smells, peppermint. I also kind of like the smell of what's the name? What would the name be? Like urtica. Can somebody what is urtica in English? The stingy green one that lives on nitrate-rich ground. Not basil. I mean, basil different. No, urtica, the stinging one. No, it's not a cactus. It's Brennnessel in German. I think it's Urtica atrica in Latin. Urtica is correct. I'm not sure about the species name. Nettle. That sounds about right. I think it's nettles. I think they have a nice smell. It's a little sharp at first. But maybe that's also more of a nostalgic smell for me. I don't know how oregano flowers smell, actually. I also was thinking of the leaf smell. It's salady smell. I like the salady smell. But if the flower is anything like that, might like that one as well. No, it must be different. I messed that up. That should count as a pooper jump. Oh, I just thought of another smell, and I forgot what I was about to bring up. Something untypical. What was it? No, it's gone! Ah! Was about to say it, and I made the mistake. My mind blanked. It was adjacent to oregano, mint, and something, I think. Ladybugs have an interesting smell. That is true. And I don't dislike it. If you get too close, or if the smell comes from the inside through your nose because you've accidentally eaten a ladybug, then it's a different story. But just the smell of ladybugs is somewhat nice. Don't squash them, they will excrete some amount of it just by annoying them a little already. Don't have to get it out by force. Thank you, squirrel. Yeah, I wouldn't think that many people would smell or would want to smell nettles. But it's always been there. Like wherever I lived, there was always this, like next to a compost, for example. Like wherever there was a lot of nitrate, or where cows used to pee, you would always find nettles there. They love nitrate-rich soil. In a way, it does smell a little bit like nitrate itself, like the smell that I'm thinking of. I think it just gets like funneled in a way into the plant. So I connected more to the plant than to the actual soil. Also not the entirety, like the plant smells like that and then also has its own little note. Yo, still 30. With the fall. It's usually not a run that I would continue. But I was curious. Laggy this time. Would have been better. Maybe it could not have been better. Oh wait, no. I think my previous split was just wrong. Oh, general favorite smells. Cooking waffles smell. Yeah, I think I know what kind of smell you mean. I think, to me, that kind of smell goes hand in hand with all kinds of like frying smells. Frying anything has this kind of similar undernote. And I'm not the greatest fan of those. I don't hate them. But I also don't have the... I have nostalgia for that, but... I don't know where to go from that statement. There's certainly nostalgia, but I don't appreciate it too much. There's no real positive connection for me. Was it too late again? No. Ah, but that was too early. Ah, no. Okay, it must be something that I have not experienced. If that is that specific. Traditionally undesirable... well, yeah, we talked about stink bugs earlier. I think stink bug smell from, like, at a certain distance actually smells good. It is pungent. It is like a sharp smell directly in your nose. You feel it physically. And if you get really close, it gets past the point of being a nice smell. But at a certain distance, like a certain intensity of it, I think actually smells nice. Ah. I mean, liking the smell of garlic is just ridiculous. It's... ah. Yeah, but you see, they even have a name indicating that most people probably don't appreciate the smell. But I would definitely say it's okay. Is there anything else like that? Let me think while doing something. Maybe this works better. I definitely don't like machining smells or gasoline, oil, or oily smells. I don't like those in particular. I think printer ink is another one that some people... I've heard some people say that they like that. I don't particularly. Unless we're talking like old book smell, but that's something else. That's not related to the printer ink itself, I believe. More like the decomposition of the paper elements. WD-40 I don't mind, actually. I think that might be an exception. I don't mind it at all. But I wouldn't wanna like rub it right under my nose, I guess. But it's something that I specifically connect to like just doing bike maintenance, fixing stuff. Because there are also some like bike-specific ones that are basically WD-40, just named differently. I get that. I'm trying to think of something out of left field, pretty much. Actually, WD-40 is exactly that. That's the kind of thing that I was thinking of. Yeah, what else is there? could be unexpected. Hey, brainwashed. I have a very weird one, and you will judge me for that. Oh no, I'm not gonna. Not sure if I'm gonna mention this. No, I will. Don't worry. You know me. I will. But how do I present this? So I grew up in the countryside, right? Smelling all the flowers, smelling all the insects, all the animals in general. Oh, that was slow. And I had a phase where I would experiment with a big looking glass of my late grandfather. The looking glass was this big and very thick, and you could very easily concentrate sunlight and make things burn. Very big looking glass, very effective. And observing insects, let's just tell it this way. I was observing insects to look at them very carefully, to see them at very close distances. And it was a sunny day. And unfortunately, the insect started to burn and shrivel away. And I gotta say, I don't dislike that smell of burning chitin. How do you even pronounce this word in English? Burning ant smell. Yeah. It's not a nice smell. But I have this nostalgic connection to it that I would still like smelling it if presented to me. I was strangling. I don't know. No, I never know. How do strangled cats smell? Did you ever strangle a cat? No. They're like from the village. There's 2 sad cat stories that I have. One of which was a pure accident. My little brother accidentally rode over a pretty much newborn cat baby with his little scooter with with hard rubber tires, pretty much, and it didn't survive the next night, I believe. That's one sad cat story. And another one is that some runts, some weird children or youths in the city, they probably just found the dead cat at the side of the road, and they put a nail through the head of the dead cat and just dangled it from a bridge. Those are the 2 sad cat moments that I remember from my childhood. Apart from, well, the family cat disappearing at some point, and then you kind of finding out that it probably got run over by a car. Concrete is a good one, though. So when I grew up, when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, hey fella, my dad started building what is now the house of my parents. He built it pretty much all by himself, and I was always around when he was building, and there was a lot of concrete mixing. So that is a very positive smell that I have stored in my nostalgia memory. I have never seen a bank vault from the inside, nor from the outside, I think. I don't think bank vaults are a big thing around here. Oops. That was only like 60 frames late for that corner boost. I mean, that's job related, right? What could that be? Some welding related thing? Something job related, I'm sure. Oh, you worked for a bank. You have worked so many different things. I was not expecting that not to work. But I say that, and I think back of the small jobs that I've done in my life, and they're all over the place as well. Old people nursery. Very specific plastic production place. Research Institute? That's the one that most people know. Bike courier. Mail delivery. Worked in a supermarket. I think it sounds cool when I say I worked at a museum, but it's only half true, because I only did some research stuff there. Yeah, then the bike online shop. That's one that is completely different from the rest. I guess I've been around the block as well. Usually just don't perceive myself that way, because many of those are so long ago. Oh, I never worked in a bike repair shop. That is something that I just do in my free time. That's how I got into the bike online store, because I already liked repairing bikes. Well, my own bike. Basic. That's a good way to phrase things, yeah. Maybe I should find some, or think of some interesting ways to phrase, or paraphrase, rather, my activities. No, that split must have been wrong. I think I'm just being sloppy in general, also with my splitting. I actually think I covered all of my workstations. That's all of my jobs there. I think I didn't even leave anything out. I guess I could say that I also helped out my dad when he was doing his painting jobs at some point. Definitely did that. That is how I financed my first car. Well, not really. It was just my dad being nice and also getting some work out of me at the same time. He definitely needed the help, but he was more, like, very likely more looking after me and like working after me, fixing my mistakes, than actually getting proper help out of me. But I get it. He wanted me to feel that I had to... If I put in work, I would get money out of it. Or some kind of recompensation. A life lesson. Yeah, I had some, like, just transitional phases where I wasn't in any official education thingy. For example, the plastic production facility that I was in was more like I was quality checking there. So the CNC machine would put out some medical thingy made of plastic, and I had to just like measure it every 100 or so specimens, and then see, okay, it's still working, still doing the right thing. Had to look if there are inclusions in the plastic, stuff like that. That was in between school and compulsory service. Just because I had to wait for the compulsory service to even start. Then, when I moved to the city that I was gonna study in, the study hadn't started yet, but I had already moved there. So I had some time to fill. That's when I did the bike courier thing. No, actually, the job I worked when I was waiting for the compulsory service to start was actually the supermarket job. The plastic stuff was way earlier. I think that was a... When did I do that? What was the situation? Might have been similar. Maybe both were like that. Might be both. Oh, did I do the supermarket job after my Zivildienst? Might have been after, now that I think about it. Because I had to wait before move. Yeah, that must have been after. That's the plastic stuff, the quality checking, then old people's nursery, then supermarket, then bike courier, then I started studying, then the research job while I was studying. I was still studying translation when I already started working at the Evolutionary Biology Institute. And then I switched to biology, and then the two things aligned. I know, Jonas is writing this all down. He's keeping a file on me. Probably knew half of these things already, but now I put it in a nice timeline. Not today. You say that now, and then there will come a day, I'm telling you, there will come a day where you just suddenly remember one of these random things. No, it's a running joke. Just how you kept track almost perfectly about what books I had reviewed and which I hadn't yet. Ah. Yeah, the zoolinguist thing really just comes from the two things I've studied. There's no more to it. Well, I guess there's more to it, because that is also aligned with some of my bigger interests in life. I pride myself in my ability to communicate with cats, because I think I can read cat body language quite well. Here's one trick, like if there's a cat that just doesn't seem to get along with you, that avoids you or something, but you're interested in getting closer to the cat, try looking at the cat, but not into the cat's eyes, but just past the cat. And intently, like look intently past the cat's, like don't make eye contact, but look at the general vicinity of the cat. That will make the cat usually feel at ease. Because in cat body language, that signifies that you are not worried that the cat will do something to you. Like you're laid back, you trust the cat to not attack you. And that works. Trust me, bro. It's just a thing that works. Focus section. Wiki page on cats. It could work for either, to be quite honest. No, this is actually a thing that works. And I learned that by just observing how cats interact with each other. You never, or very rarely, again, see cats intently staring at each other, except for when they're actually about to fight. So looking a cat in the eyes actually makes the cat nervous. I think it's similar with dogs, but I don't think the other thing works on dogs. I don't think it doesn't go as far as the specific thing of, okay, I'm looking at you, but not really. I'm leaving myself open. Cats seem to particularly like that, and they feel at ease. They don't feel threatened, because you gotta be aware, like you're so much bigger than a cat. Usually most animals will feel naturally threatened by you just walking up to them. Hey, Take. Can you even sue cat owners for their cats? Oh wait, no. This is about women. Yeah, don't know. Don't apply it to women and try to... No. Even just talking about that can only go in a wrong direction. Yeah, but it's more specific, like still stare right past the animal. That is important. It has to be an intent look. That added layer to it. Like if you're just sitting in the same room, looking at the TV, the cat will not say, okay, he's not looking at me, I'm gonna approach this person. It's just actual body language. Like still, the cat will feel at ease, but it will not get the same kind of information out of you that you also feel at ease and you speak the same language as the cat. That's the added value of the, okay, the cat is there, so I'm staring there. Wait, what? Did I miss something, Scroll? Is that just a noise that some people make when they want to get a cat get close to them? That's what I think of when I make the sound myself. Here's usually like one of the like more endearing German terms for a cat is Mietz. It might also be a little regional. But people would instead just say meats, 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 meats to make the cat come towards them. Meats, 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 meats. Which just means cat, 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 cat. It might be a more East German thing. I'm not sure how regional Mietz actually is. Mietze Katze is the long form. But yeah, the scientific background of that, I think, is just that it's implied that the cat is used to those very sounds. Like, that is not a... It's just assumed. Somebody who is caring for this cat probably makes similar sounds when they want the cat to come to them. So that's just a thing of familiarity. So an acquired trait from interacting with humans. Okay, first somewhat decent jelly portion of the day. And then I jump way too early again. Curious if this can still be a 31. I think it can. It cannot anymore. Eh. There goes my science. That was so bad. Accidental super jump caused by sudden lag spike. That lag had already gone and then it came back. I am not sure how that happened. Was over-pronouncing the jumping late there. Hey, Kadei. You can, but I like normalizing setups. And I use the block that the bell is hanging off for that. It's my visual cue. Because I want to time it to the very exact pixel, like the very first frame where you can drop. Like, the one thing is you want to start syncing as quickly as you can. The priority is down, not right there, right? So the quicker you can get from right to down, the better, the faster. You will see a lot of people have a completely different setup for that part than me, which might still achieve the very same goal. I'm just a fan of those early setups, where you have a very clear visual cue. And nowadays I even do it with an entire sequence of inputs, where the previous jump is already part of the muscle memory setup. So I start the setup and then I see, okay, I'm this and that many pixels off, so I have to delay the next one a little bit. So here it starts. This full jump, early. That's the part that is currently broken, the muscle memory part, the part where I wait for the next jump. But normally my setup would start earlier. And then I know if I do that right, I don't have to pay attention to where exactly I land. Because it should be within like 3 pixels. I mean, you want to enter without running into it. If you run into the jelly, then you would not start floating for a couple of frames. Like, quite a few frames, actually. Didn't get the lag reduction. But so to speak, the angle is always going to be the same anyway, because you have running speed. And no matter how you jump, like, you don't want to do a super low jump, I guess, because then Mario has to start syncing already. So I guess you want to have the maximum 45-degree-ish angle from the end of a jump, not from the beginning of a jump, or like a lower jump curve. That's the only relevant part. Oops. And I have seen people who just skip the entire weaving through the cows part and just like jump onto the middle of the jelly pond and just sink straight down from there. But that obviously means that you have to, first of all, sink through more jelly, because you sink from the top down and not from the side. Like, I jump into the side, right? So I skip a little bit of the jelly sinking. And you also go down much later than when you had gone down like 2 tiles earlier. There's a big difference. Weaving through the cows will always be faster because you start sinking earlier. But these are all like frame by frame things, pretty much. It only really matters if you want to optimize and min-max how you play. But yeah, once you start syncing, the speed is always the same. There's no variable syncing speeds, only one. Just as there's only one running speed, only one walking speed. There are some transitional speeds between the 2 states, but they are usually very short. Ah, that could have been good. Ah, that one hurts ATC. Yeah, 2 swimming speeds, yes. Swimming speed is really an annoyance most of the time. Yeah. That's one case where I definitely see the glass being half empty. The not swimming, like if you're holding B and move to the side, then yes, you're delaying the sinking. Like if you hold run. In that specific place with the 3 cowfish there, for some reason, this is not fully understood, but it is observed. If you move horizontally at all, it will lag. That's why I want to minimize the horizontal movement there as much as I can. So you see me going through the cows, through the small gap, and then not doing any horizontal input until I get to the very bottom, right? That's 4 lag reduction. Otherwise, if you just move to the side while sinking, it will not affect your sinking speed. Best viewers. Nice. Ah! Double R! Not like that. Yeah, it's funny to look at in a task program where you're not moving at all, and you just get like the odd lag frame there because there are 3 cowfish, so it will lag regardless if you're Big Mario. And then you start moving right, and actually every second frame is going to be a lag frame. It's the worst, pretty much the worst lag without adding projectiles or anything that you can create in the game. Like in a regular situation, without like collecting sprites off screen or something. That's more artificial. I guess the tree left flies are probably similar. Alright, it's getting late. I'm gonna do one more run out of the tree zone. Yeah, that's applicable for Turtle 3, for example, where you see me. If you can picture the last swimming section in Turtle 3 in your head, the entrance to that, I try to jump on top of a jelly section and then as far as possible through the air before hitting the water, while still avoiding a spike up top. That's the exact same principle. Because swimming is slower. Well, in the jelly pond example, it is just that you're going down, so the speed, the horizontal speed doesn't matter anymore. Your only objective is to get down as quickly as possible. Yeah, the whale level, for the example that I described. Only one little jump. It saves like maybe 4 frames in total. But it's for that very same reason. Trying to think of where else that could be applied. There's the one water level in Macro Zone, but you really don't have any choice there. I mean, you flutter over some portion of water, but that's different. In the submarine itself, you're also very restricted. You usually cannot choose when, or delaying to swim a lot. That's more about avoiding the possibility of getting slow swimming. Because you can't choose between running speed and swimming speed, but you have to choose between fluttering speed and slow swimming speed. Fluttering speed being the exact same speed as fast swimming speed. Always. That's a different choice. Yo, Fauna boosts. That's 5. Slow though. I wasn't holding jump when I hit the mushroom block, so Mario floated down rather slowly and then immediately landing. The history, oh, the Store one? I think that's the only one that you could be referring to, right? A little late. Ooh, almost touched, but... Yeah, I think that is the Store one. Haven't been getting past tree zones at all today. Always one big mistake somewhere. But this one could be acceptable at least. Well, Not anymore. Yo, but the good lag reduction though. That's the way it should look. Hello, Sakurai. Nah, not too hard today. I'm more so getting back into the groove after my adventure travels. Okay, acceptable. Not gonna admit that I split a little early just to see the 413 there. Ah, now I'm masking it by making a sloppy mistake on the map. Last run. Yeah, but only if you split properly on the previous stage, as well as don't stop on the map. The time save on that stage is actually real. There is a variable lag. That we have one setup that we might be able to actually manipulate the lag, which works like 1 out of 8 times. But that's all we have. I still have not fixed the space 1 split. That time loss is not as big as it seems. My split is just wrong. Oh yeah. This definitely has to be the last run. Let's hope that I don't completely botch the Tatanka. I will take a 2-cycle. Would be much happier about a 1-cycle. Oh. Also running out of water. Another reason for this being the last run. That was very close to an albatross. I'm confident that I heard 5 shots connect there. Best run of the day. Hey, that almost rhymes, ATC. Crazy. I missed the jump again. I was so scared there. I saw myself fall. Well, now everybody saw myself fall. Didn't want to bonk the ceiling. That's a dumb mistake. Yeah, I will let most of you go to bed now. So maybe it will come to us in a dream, that word that rhymes. There's a non-0% chance nowadays that another really good speedrunner will be doing SML2 attempts. He's not right now. Jet, boot up your stream now. Otherwise, there is Iceplug doing a Sunday Night Alias right now. Always something. Just one more refresh. Don't see Jet. Don't see Jet right now. Iceplug it is. I will be back tomorrow. And tomorrow it will be really good. Really fast. I'm all warmed up. Hope to see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. And bye-bye.